Hey guys, it's Alexandra with New Mexico Historic Sites, and welcome to my kitchen. In our last video, we talked about the mesquite tree and all of its different miracle uses. Today, however, I want to specifically talk about the tree's seed pods and how you can use the seed pods at home as a flour in order to bake with. Now, right now, the trees are flowering, just like this, and these flowers are going to turn into the tree's seed pods. Now, in its green form, this is not a ripe seed pod. You want to wait until the seed pods have turned from green into a brown color. And these seed pods are what are ultimately roasted and ground and turned into flour that you can use in baking, in cooking, you can stick them in beverages, and you can even use them to make coffee, just like we talked about in our last video. Now, it's important to note that most of the brown seed pods that I have here are still really thin, and this makes them not very mature and not very good for using in making your flour. Now, what you're looking for are the fatter seed pods, because the fatter they are, the more meat they have inside them, and that meat is what becomes the flour. Now, when you go to harvest the seed pods, look for the seed pods that are still on the tree. They're going to be a darker brown with a reddish maroon tint to them, and when you shake the tree, the pods will fall right off the branches. You would then take and break them up into pieces, stick them into a stainless steel pot, and heat them until they roast all the way. This is to not only help them roast, but to remove all of the moisture from the pods. At this point, you would then ground the seed pods into a fine powder. Now, full disclosure, this powder that I have here, I bought from a store. So you actually can just skip most of these steps and go directly to your local grocery store and buy some mesquite flour. Now, the flour itself has a bit of a nutty smell to it. It smells really good, but its flavor tastes like coffee. So let's go on ahead and bake with our mesquite flour, shall we? I'm going to show you how to make a recipe that I use all the time from Rachel Paul's Food. It's a 5-minute mug cookie. So let me go on ahead and grab all of my ingredients and I'll be right back with you. Okay, I'm back. And I've gathered my ingredients in a way that's just going to make things a little bit faster for me to show you. But what we're going to start with is 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar and 1 tablespoon of dark brown sugar. We'll go on ahead and stick that in my mug. And I'm going to also take 1 egg yolk, put it into the mug, and I'm going to stir that up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of butter, which I have melted for about 20 seconds, and I'm going to add that in. And I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of flour. Now, in this instance, I'm only going to add 1 tablespoon of our mesquite flour. The reason being because mesquite flour has a very coffee-like taste, and I actually really don't like coffee. If you like coffee and you like the flavor of coffee, this can absolutely be used as a one-to-one replacement for your regular all-purpose flour. So if that's a flavor that you really enjoy, I would go on ahead and do all 4 tablespoons of mesquite flour into the mix here. But because I'm not a huge fan of that flavor, I'm just going to do 1 tablespoon of mesquite flour. And then I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of gluten-free all-purpose flour. Now, I am a gluten-free only person, so that's why we're adding gluten-free flour. And then I'm also going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm also going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum, which I have to add because I am using gluten-free flour, and so that helps the mixture rise, as well as a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. I've also put just a sprinkle of kosher salt in this mix as well. So I'm going to add that in. I'm going to go ahead and mix all of this together. Now, if you want to make a different kind of cookie, say a chocolate chip cookie or a nut cookie of some kind, you can add nuts, you can add chocolate chips. It's entirely up to you, but I'm just going to leave it as a straight sugar cookie today. And so I will mix that up, and you can actually see here what the dough consistency looks like. And all I'm gonna do is stick this into my microwave for 1 minute. And 1 minute later, my cookie is totally done. Mug's really warm. It's really good. It's really, really good. I do hope you try mesquite flour for yourself. Please be sure to share with us what different recipes you make with your mesquite flour, or if you try grinding it yourself. Until next time, I hope you've enjoyed learning about some plants of the Chihuahuan Desert. Bye-bye.